And welcome back, it's JWalter here. The purpose of today's video is to share the most comprehensive list that this housing market is slowing down. I'm going to be going over a lot of early indicators that's telling us that we're seeing a shift in our housing market. So that's the topic of today's video. I'm going to be going over a lot of factors we're seeing right now that's telling us this housing market frenzy is over. Also, stay tuned towards the end of this video. I'm going to share my personal thoughts regarding, are we going to be seeing a housing market crash? And I hope you guys get a lot of value out of today's video. I did a lot of research in order to making this video. So if you guys get any value out of this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. And also consider subscribing. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. I have a lot of indicators I want to share with you guys to give you a comprehensive list about what's really going on with our housing market right now. Number one, new home sales absolutely faltered in April. According to the US Census Bureau, they actually just announced this on the 24th of May, new home sales absolutely tanked. So for the seasonally adjusted annual rate for April 2022, that decreased to 591,000 new home sales at a seasonally adjusted annual rate. This is a big sign because new home sales are defined as when a contract is signed. So these are contract signings for new home sales for April 2022. So this is really a big leading indicator of our housing market. And by the way, the annual rate of 591,000 that was set in April 2022, the street was expecting 750,000 new home sales and not 591,000. So far below the street's expectations for contracts signed for new home sales in the US for April 2022. And this is a big decrease by almost 17% on a month-to-month basis compared to March 2022. And also look at this, down 26.9% for the number of new home sales on a seasonally adjusted rate compared to 1 year ago. This is also seen across the United States as well, because if you look at the regional level, have a look at this. So for new home sales for the Northeast, the Midwest, the South, and the West, they all decreased compared to 1 month ago. However, compared to 1 year ago, only the Northeast saw an increase of new home sales, whereas sales in the Midwest and South tanked by over 25% from a year ago. Meanwhile, housing inventory for brand new houses reached 444,000. That's a gain of 40.1% from 1 year ago. So that's a big increase, the highest numbers we've seen in at least the last 12 months for housing inventory for brand new houses. So this is something we should definitely pay attention to regarding a big decrease in the number of new home sales in the US. Again, down 27% compared to 1 year ago. This is again a leading indicator because these are based on contracts actually signed by home buyers and home builders for April 2022. And I'll definitely keep you posted regarding this because if this trend continues into May, this is going to be a strong sign that home buyers are not willing to pay these high home prices, especially for new houses. Yet another trend we're seeing right now is a decrease in pending home sales. Again, a pending home sale is when a home seller accepts an offer from a home buyer. So the National Association of Realtors reported a decrease by 3.9% in April for pending home sales. These are, by the way, for existing houses and not brand new houses. In any case, it decreased by 3.9% in April. This is actually the 6th consecutive month of decreases of pending home sales. And according to Lawrence Yun, who is the National Association of Realtors chief economist, he had this to say: the latest contract signings, which again are pending home sales, mark 6 consecutive months of declines and are at the slowest pace in nearly a decade. So part of the reason why we're seeing a decrease in pending home sales and also new home sales is because mortgage rates has shot up greatly. They're up about 2 percentage points over the last 12 months. These higher mortgage rates increase mortgage payments by as much as $500 more per month. Such price hikes are already a burden, but they become even more problematic to a family on a budget contending with rapid inflation, including surging fuel and food costs. So because of rising mortgage rates, rising home prices, we're seeing a decrease in the number of home sales across the United States. What we're also seeing is a decrease in the number of home showings across the United States as well. So according to Redfin, they have what's called a Redfin Home Buyer Demand Index. That's again a measure of home tours and other home buying services from Redfin agents that actually went down 12% year over year during the week ending May 22nd. Again, this is a 12% decrease in the number of home tours and also home buying services from Redfin agents compared to 1 year ago. This is the largest decline since April 2020 when the pandemic paused most home buying activity. This is pretty mind-blowing because when you think about it, back in March and April, we basically had stay-at-home orders across the United States, which we really saw the housing market basically on pause. So they saw a 12% decrease for the week ending May 22nd, which is the largest decline since April 2020 when basically people were forced to stay at home. Also, according to the website showingtime.com, and ShowingTime is a service that some real estate agents use across the United States in order to schedule home showings with their clients. So real estate agent showings across the United States are down approximately 10.7% from a year ago. However, take a look at the trends this year compared to last year. So this orange line here is for 2022. The line above there in blue is for 2021. These are real estate agent showings in North America. This is through May 31st of this year. But have a look at this because this is pretty mind-blowing. Compared to the first week of 2022, compared to May 31st, which was yesterday at the time of this video, the number of home showings is actually down by 12.1%. So in other words, we have 12% less home showings in North America compared to the first week of January of this year. This is a big red flag because if you think about it, in January of each year, our housing market is slow. Our housing market's really slow basically in November all the way until more or less February. This is really a seasonality of our housing market each year. So to say we have 12% less home showings compared to January of this year, that's pretty mind-blowing because last year we have an increase by 13.8%. So not only are we seeing less home sales and also less showings by real estate agents, we're also starting to see more housing inventory. This is according to the latest data we have from Realtor.com. This is for the week ending May 21st of this year. And for this week, housing inventory actually increased compared to 1 year ago. So it has increased by 9% of this week compared to 1 year ago. And according to Realtor.com, this is the biggest year-over-year gain ever observed in their weekly data history, which goes back to 2017. So have a look at this. Active listings are still down 16% year to date. But for this week ending May 7th, they were basically flat from 1 year ago. However, the next week, which is the week ending May 14th, we have an increase by 5%. In the most recent week we have an increase by 9%. So as you can see here, over the past 3 weeks, housing inventory has started to increase compared to 1 year ago. Again, up 9% from 1 year ago. We're also seeing that for the number of new listings as well. Again, a new listing is when a home seller lists their house for sale. That's actually down 1% year to date this year. So for this week, we were basically up 4%. Then the following week, it increased by 6%. Then the next week, it also increased by 6%. So we're starting to see more new listings. We're also starting to see more active listings or housing supply as well. Now, every housing market's different, right? I'm just talking about national averages here when we're talking about these housing market trends according to Realtor.com. Some housing markets are seeing a big increase in the number of new listings, such as Boise, Idaho, as I reported to you guys a couple of days ago. However, a 9% gain compared to 1 year ago in the number of houses for sale is obviously a step in the right direction if we want to have some normalcy in our housing market. However, the byproduct of more active listings or housing supply is also more price reductions by home sellers. So Redfin posted on May 26th that approximately 19.1% of home sellers dropped their asking prices during the 4-week period ending May 22nd, the highest level since October of 2019. And according to Redfin's chief economist Daryl Fairweather, she had this to say: "The picture of a softening housing market is becoming more clear, especially to home sellers who are increasingly turning to price drops as buyers become more cost conscious under higher mortgage rates." So in other words, we're starting to see more new listings and also a decrease of home buying activity, which is causing housing supply to increase and also is causing some homeowners, or 19.1% of home sellers, to reduce their asking prices in order to get their houses sold. And according to Redfin, here's the percent of active listings with price drops by week. So right now, for the week ending May 22nd, 4.8% had price drops. But as you can see here, the share of price reductions has basically been going straight up, basically ever since the end of March. As you can see here, the share was basically on par with 2021 when they had approximately 2.5% of active listings with price reductions. But as you can see here, the black line right here in 2022, the share of price reductions has been absolutely skyrocketing to levels above 2019 and also in 2021. What we're also seeing right now is fewer people searching for houses for sale on Google. So when you go to Google Trends and actually look for the search term houses for sale, this is for people going onto Google and they're actually searching for houses for sale in the US. That actually peaked for the week of July 4th to July 10th of last year. But right now, as you can see here, really ever since April 3rd and 9th, the trend of people searching for houses for sale has been declining. And the current levels right now are approximately 16 percentage points less compared to the peak in July of last year. In regards to rising mortgage rates, have a look at this. This is on Uncle Fred's website here, and the source here is Freddie Mac. As you can see here, here's the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage over the past 5 years. So the all-time record lows was basically set in January 7th of 2021 when the average was 2.65% for the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage in the US. It also reached almost an all-time record low in August of last year as well. But as you can see here, mortgage rates have been increasing greatly ever since then. So as of December 30th of last year, the average was 3.11%. Now, at the time of this video, the average is approximately 5.10%. So in other words, in the span of approximately 6 months, mortgage rates have increased approximately 2 percentage points. I mean, going back to 2018, it took almost 1 year for mortgage rates to increase by 1 percentage points. Therefore, a lot of home buyers are getting priced out of this housing market because of rising mortgage rates and of course, rising home prices. And the general rule of thumb is that for every 1% increase of mortgage rates, that causes a 10% decrease in buyers' purchasing power. And because mortgage rates have been increasing greatly, fewer people are submitting loan applications for home purchases. So the purchase index, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association right now, is at 225. Besides April 2020, when we basically had stay-at-home orders across the United States, besides April 2020, this is the lowest levels since December of 2018. So in other words, the amount of people submitting loan applications for home purchases is basically at a 3.5-year low. Yet another sign that our housing market is slowing down is because we're seeing a decrease of existing home sales as well. So according to the National Association of Realtors, as I reported to you guys a couple weeks ago, which was posted on the 19th of this month, existing home sales decreased 2.4% in April. And this is the third consecutive month where home sales declined. Sales are down 2.4% from the prior month again, and down 5.9% from 1 year ago. And according to Lawrence Yun, who is the National Association of Realtors chief economist, higher home prices and sharply higher mortgage rates have reduced buyer activity. It looks like more declines are imminent in the upcoming months and will likely return to pre-pandemic home sale activity after a remarkable surge over the past 2 years. And yet another sign that our housing market is slowing down is that housing affordability is at its lowest levels in at least the last 12 months. So according to the National Association of Realtors, as I reported to you guys about a month ago, on May 6, 2022, housing affordability declined in March as the monthly mortgage payment climbed 32% and the median family income fell by 6.6%. And by the way, the average mortgage rate this year was 4.24% compared to 3.14% from 1 year ago. Also, the median existing home sale price rose by 15.2% from 1 year ago. So in other words, home buyers are being hit by rising home prices and rising mortgage rates. An increase by 15.2% for home prices and an increase by over 2 percentage points this year alone for mortgage rates. And here's a really good graphic to show you guys regarding this big decrease of housing affordability in the US. So the peak over the past 12 months was basically 1 year ago. It was at 175.2. But as you can see here, housing affordability has more or less been decreasing ever since then. Right now we're at 124 for the index compared to 175.2 from 1 year ago. And here's another way to look at it. Again, the index right now for March 2022, the most recent stats we have for you guys, is at 124. The lowest reading over the past 12 months, but look at 2020 and also 2019. The average in 2019 was basically 160. Now it's 124. In 2020, it was just under 170. So right now, the levels we have right now are far below the average over the past 3 years. So the median sold price as of March of this year, according to the National Association of Realtors, is $382,000. The average rate that month was 4.24%. That would give you a $1,502 principal and interest payment. In other words, your mortgage payment less property taxes and insurance. Compare that to 2019, which is obviously pre-COVID. The average payment was $1,054. So in other words, an increase by approximately $450 compared to 2019. On top of that, the qualifying income in order to buy the average price home in the US reached $72,000. So $72,000 per year is the income required in order to buy the average price home in March. However, as of April, though, the average home price in the United States was actually just under $400,000. So housing affordability is going to be even worse compared to March of this year, compared to April of this year as well. Yet another red flag we're seeing right now is that Zillow actually downgraded their housing market forecast for the past 2 months in a row. So here's the latest forecast that was actually published on May 19th of this year. They actually revised down their forecast from April. They're now forecasting for home values to increase by 11.6% over the next 12 months. That's from May 2022 to April 2023. However, compared to 1 month ago, they were forecasting for a 14.9% gain. So they actually decreased from 14.9% to 11.6% over the next 12 months. So are we going to see a housing market crash this year? Are we going to be seeing home prices decrease greatly? Here's my personal thoughts regarding that. In my personal opinion, we have to see a lot more houses to be listed for sale and a lot more housing inventory in order to cause a housing market crash or in order to cause home prices to decrease greatly. So here's the latest trends we have from Redfin, and this is for the 4 weeks ending May 22nd of this year. Again, every housing market's different, right? You could see housing markets where home prices decrease because housing supply increased greatly. Also, we could see housing markets where housing supply still remains very low and home prices continue to increase. However, on a national level, though, overall, the number of new listings is basically on par over the past few years. So when you compare this year to 2021, we're only down 0.9%. So for the 4 weeks ending May 22nd of this year, we have approximately 108,000 new listings. That's basically on par with 2021 and also in 2019 as well. So this blue line here is 2019, the orange line is 2021, and here is 2022. So if we want to see home prices decrease greatly this year, the number of new listings basically has to shoot up greatly. Also, we have to see the number of housing supply or the number of houses for sale in the US to also increase greatly as well. So have a look at this. The latest trends we have right now, according to Redfin, is that we have 585,000 houses for sale in the US. But that's a decrease by almost 13% compared to 1 year ago when we had approximately 671,000 houses for sale. Back in 2020, we had approximately 945,000 houses for sale. Also, at this time in 2019, we had almost 1.2 million houses for sale. So in 2019, 1.2 million, compare that to 585,000 houses for sale. So in other words, because housing supply is down approximately 50 to 60% compared to 2019 at this time, I really don't see home prices decreasing this year by a significant amount. In order for home prices to decrease greatly this year, we need housing supply to surpass 2020, 2021, and also 2019's levels as well. So in other words, we have a long ways to go because we have far less houses for sale compared to 2019. However, that trend has been improving though. As you can see here at the beginning of this year, we were actually down 21% for the number of houses for sale compared to 2021. Now we're only down 13%. However, I'll definitely keep you posted regarding this because a lot could change, right? Hope you guys got a lot of value out of today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and greatly appreciate that. Hope you have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.